Any kind of lack that you keep pointing out to yourself or experiencing, including a lack of time, is signaling to the universe that you are a match for lack.
I am Gloria Grace Rand, founder of The Love Method and author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Live, Love, Engage: How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. In this podcast, we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically, so you can create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage. Namaste. Procrastination, perfectionism, and a lack of focus. These are not exactly the qualities you want to have if you want to be a successful business owner. Instead, they're really forms of self-sabotage, which today's guest knows how to overcome. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before I bring her on, I do want to welcome those of you who are new to Live, Love, Engage. I am Gloria Grace, and I help female entrepreneurs attract more clients with calm, clarity, and confidence by releasing negative thought patterns like self-doubt and poor self-worth. And our guest today is a delightful woman who I've met a while ago. Her name is Liah Kraft-Kristaine, and for more than 20 years, she has coached entrepreneurs, authors, and professionals in product, presentation, and promotional skills. And she's built 4 successful businesses and 2 nonprofits, practiced law, written 19 books, spoken in nearly 500 cities on 4 continents. She also builds houses. We might get to that if we have a chance. And if that's not enough, she's also a former broadcaster on both CNN and PBS television. So without further ado, I am going to bring her on and officially welcome you, Liah, to Live, Love, Engage.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, I am really, I'm just amazed by all the things you're doing, and it makes you wonder. Our topic is self-sabotage. So, have you ever done that yourself? Because it doesn't seem like it, because you've been able to do so many different things. So, maybe tell us a little bit about, I guess, if you have done that as well, but what causes, maybe just what causes people in general to kind of engage in that?
Well, I think most people actually don't know what kind of conversation they're having in their own heads. I think that's a starting point for everyone. And the trouble is, we can live with ourselves alone and not have to deal with it at all if we aren't interacting with people very much, or if we're not in a relationship, or if we're not running a business or writing a book or creating anything at all. We don't have to face the garbage going on in our own heads. But here's the truth. Every time you start moving towards something that you are attracted to, that makes you feel a sense of joy, excitement, even the sense of love. Love is what we should feel when we're feeling passionate about our businesses and about what we do, and if you're falling in love. But what I know for myself and for all the clients I have worked with who have discovered this for themselves also, is when you love something, when you want the push to the good, there is an amazing thing that happens to all of us. If you think of yourself as a clear glass with ice cubes down at the bottom, ice cubes of unresolved garbage issues, when you are in love with your business, your partner, your whatever, it's like pouring clear water into that glass. And what's going to happen? The ice cubes rise to the top. And that means then you have to deal with it now. And if you then, because you're thinking all these thoughts you hadn't thought about for a long time because you pushed into the back of your mind, now you're thinking things like, I don't know if I'm going to be successful. I don't know if people will welcome what I have. I don't know if they're going to like me. I don't know if I'm going to find my tribe. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know how I'm going to live to next month. All of the garbage of lack of abundance and lack of welcoming and lack of self-welcoming comes to the fore. And I'm sorry, but that is how it works, because why? The universe is giving you a double chance to deal with it now so you can get out of your own way. And if you can deal with it, if you've got the strength to deal with it and look at it and say, now look, so that happened to me in second grade. That does not mean it's going to repeat itself now. But I have had so much experience with it. And that is why I teach what I teach. I start with the foundations of happiness, of working on your inner relationship with yourself, which of course is what you talk about loving yourself, about getting that feeling going of the love energy. There's so many reasons why women in particular have a problem with this. We know that. For me, my family history, I was told by one of my sisters that all of us have a problem with manic depression. You might as well get on lithium, because none of us can stay feeling good for any period of time. And I said, if that's true about our body chemistry, and I'm not going to test myself and I'm not going to find out because I don't want to have a label for it, I am going to find ways to work on myself. And if I have to work on myself 4 times harder than anybody else, just to get to a modicum of a feeling of happiness, that's what I'm going to do, because I have to learn how to live. Well, that was a little earlier on in my life when I started having these nosedives when I was 13 years old, and then having that persist, and for no reason that you could really see, but it was the self-talk. It was a lot of the issues that we all have. But when I got into law school, I had an experience that I thought, well, this is where I want to be. I love this. I'm excited about it. I want to do women's law. I want to do international law. I want to do these wonderful things to help humanity. And I had the good fortune of being put on what's called law review, which means I wrote for a legal publication within law school. That is a high honor to receive. Yet, when I graduated from one of the top law schools in our country and went out to find a job in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, I am from near Canada, so I did not get the mentality of the old boy system. And it was strong and alive when I got out of law school, but I really was clueless. I really was. I was naive in the max. So when I was offered $7.50 an hour to be a practicing attorney, I took it thinking,
Oh, wow.
I will learn, I will grow, I will start here, fine, I'll do that. It took me 9 months to quit. I mean, after going in and asking for raises multiple times, after setting up the law firm with their own Securities and Exchange Department for every state in the US so that we could submit our private placements for huge real estate offerings. After doing all of that and still getting no recognition and no raise, finally I left. Now, did that show self-respect? Oh, a little, but maybe I should have left after 3 months. And that's a problem. Women are still faced with the belittlement that comes from being a woman. And I thought by this point in my life, that would be a far distant in the past thing. But guess what? It isn't. The pin I used to wear in law school that said 73 cents on the dollar, all I have to do is move that and write a line through 83 cents on the dollar. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
but we don't want to rest on those. No anger, no resentment, because that is self-sabotage as well. I hope everybody hears that and knows that. That is baggage that will hold you back from your dream. It is negative garbage. All of us are conduits. every one of us. And when you are feeling love, your conduit expands. When you are feeling fear or hate or resentment, it narrows down to a tiny trickle. And if you have memories of garbage from your life, or memories or thoughts about all the injustices that are being done to you or anyone else, it's like clods of asphalt or tar that's mucking up this beautiful conduit. Think about it that way, and just know, when you are trying to launch, when you are starting a business, when you are branching out into a new venture, work on yourself so that you will feel nothing but that clear, delighted, excited, moving forward energy. And I can hear you saying, and how do you get there?
Yeah, I know. But I do love, I want to go back to, I love that ice cube metaphor, because I think that is, I know that was for me, absolutely. It was when I started my own business. Yeah. All of a sudden, all of these new concerns, beliefs about money and things came to the surface that I didn't have when I was working for someone else. I was perfectly fine, but all of a sudden now it's like, oh, I have to figure out how much to charge, and oh, I should raise my rates. Oh, wow. Okay. What a concept. I should ask her a raise. It's like, that was supposed to be automatically given to me. I was supposed to have a performance review. That's what it's like when you're working for someone else, but not when you're working for yourself. It's a whole different story. So yeah, please share with us a little bit about now. Okay. So let's say, yes, maybe we've started to become aware of some of these things, some of these thoughts, but how do we now shift that so that we can deal with it and start being more successful?
You have brought up all of those issues that come. You're so right. It's worthiness. It's abundance or not abundance, or am I supposed to be struggling? And so many people listening and watching this show right now might think, I am fully capable of handling all of that. And yet, and even know all what you should know about visualizing. How do you want it to look? What do you want to have to be the outcome of this thing you're working on? See it and feel what it feels like to have it now. It's here now. Breathe it in. But here's what so many people, and especially women, I hate to say this, but it is true, especially women, forget to see the new you. Who is that person now who has stepped up to the next level? And then the next level and the next level. Who is she? How does she look? How does she dress? How does she feel? How does she walk? How does she move through her day? Is she always on time? Is she ahead of time? Or is she always running behind? Because here's the thing about abundance. Let's just talk about this for a minute. Any kind of lack that you keep pointing out to yourself or experiencing, including a lack of time, is signaling to the universe that you are a match for lack. And everybody here knows there is something called the law of attraction. It means you attract the core of you, what you are feeling most of the time. So be very careful about your use of time. If you need to cut back on the to-do list so that you can do it reasonably, beautifully, calmly, confidently, and comfortably, you are sending out a signal of abundance. So that is one major piece. And I see so many people getting frantic as soon as they start a business because you are wearing every hat. Yes, you are. And that's how it is for a while. But love it. Get comfortable with it. So the other thing I want to mention, there are so many parts of this that I do want to bring up. Self-talk. Honest to Pete, you got to figure out what you're saying to yourself. And one of the mantras that I have said, I have a program that is called the happiness tune-up. We all get happy when things are going well and we've had enough sleep and our friends are around us and our family's lovely and our kids aren't acting up. We can all be happy. But it's when things get more difficult. So at that time, I want you to ask yourself 3 important questions. They're the 3 keys to our beliefs. One is this, because you have to become either a perfect coach to yourself, or you have to become a perfect set of parents you did not have, because no one had them. I don't know who got them, but somebody thinks they did. I think it's just an archetype that sticks with us, but it's not real. So the first question from your self-coach, you self-coaching, is to say, all right, what lie am I telling myself about myself right now? What lie or lies am I telling myself about myself? Nobody's going to want this. Nobody's going to want this product. Who do you think you are? That's a universal statement. You never thought you'd say it to your kids, and you do, and you say it to yourself. I'm just guessing. But the question is, what lie are you telling yourself about yourself? And second, what lie are you telling yourself about life? Life is tough. It's really hard to get a footing. Look at all the entrepreneurs that fail. Oh, we have to stop it. And we have to turn it around, and we have to say the opposite to what a great coach and a great set of parents would say. But you are unique. You have something specific and special to offer from your own set of experience, which is the set of experience no one else in the whole world has. And then you're going to say the last coaching question to yourself. What lie am I telling myself about other people? And at that moment, you can be focusing on any set of other people, the nasty girls in middle school, the nasty girls in high school, you know they come out of the woodwork when you are being squeezed. And so what is your coach and your perfect set of parents going to say to you? There are people that are cheering you on. There are people that can't wait to see what you're going to do next. There are people that cannot wait to brag about your success. There are people who will help you. There are people that are just waiting to see you get to this point, and they want to step in and help you with the next level. So we lie to ourselves when we get down. And that is why we should never, ever let ourselves get back the first foot into that greasy, sticky septic tank, because that's how I picture it. You start going into that septic tank, and your job is to get out just as fast as you can, whatever it takes. Go for a walk, jump up and down, scream, yell, whatever you need to do. But do not let yourself slip too far, because you know, and I know, what it takes to get out of that septic tank. I picture the round one that we had at our house, and me going like this, trying to get out, hands and feet in the slippery. No. Nip it in the bud, and get up and out, and make yourself a list of things you want to think about that will help empower you. Do something physically empowering, whatever that might be. Do whatever it takes to sharpen your brain. I take ginkgo, and I take gotu kola, and I take L-theanine, which is a natural amino acid. I think lots of people should be taking it. But I know that these truths are true for almost everyone, because you can't look at anyone and assume they've had it easy. I'm telling you the truth about life. No one will think they've had it easy, period.
That's true. And I think if they do think that, they probably are still lying to themselves.
and maybe they have. And I would say that if somebody has really been born with a fabulous, wonderful silver spoon like that, or if they have met their soulmate and they're married to that person, oh, God bless you. And how fortunate for you. And that's what gives everybody else more hope. And the feeling of, yes, that can be, it is real.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And some great ideas there. And this, asking yourself, what are you lying to yourself about, I think is very worthwhile. And I suspect, though, there's still going to be some people out there who are going to be like, I don't know. I'm not sure that I can even do that. So what would you say to someone who's out there who's listening to this going, I don't know, this I don't think I can do that. Is there you have any other way that I can be able to?
There's lots of ways.
Yeah, to be able to do what I want to do and not get caught up in, procrastination and things like that.
And obviously, I'm sure you have said this, and I love your daily meditations. Thank you so much. You got to start from your center, get back in your center. And when you're in your center, when you are breathing, when you can look calmly in your own eyes in the mirror and say, I'm okay, I'm doing just fine. Or, and this is harder for some people, I am innocent. Innocent. Innocence means I am worthy of all splendor. I am worthy of all goodness. I am worthy. And then sit down one day when you have a half hour or maybe an hour with a pen and a piece of paper. Don't do it on the computer because it works with your subconscious so much better because your writing hand is intimately linked with your subconscious mind. Write your resume. What do you know how to do? What have you done? And it doesn't mean a job, starting a business. It can mean that too. But I am talking about what have you done and what do you love that you adore, that makes you, you? What do you do if you sing in the shower, if you knit and you love it? Listen, I this weekend was just at a fabulous conference and I am here to tell you, and this is not sexist, I want to say, I saw two women, one woman with one business, another woman with another business, do the kinds of businesses where you would say, well, that is really a female kind of thing. One teaches people how to knit sweaters, and she online has created a business making millions. Yes. And another one in a similar they don't know each other. She creates yarn that she spins by hand and puts ribbons and things into it, and she sells it to specialty shops and sells to individuals. She too has created a multi-million-dollar business. So if you're thinking, hey, the things I love just couldn't possibly bring in a good living, I am here to tell you that whatever you have to offer, whatever you have to be of service, because that's what we're doing here, and that's what should make you radiate. That's what should make you powerful. That gets us to another big, big question here, is the feeling of being of service. And how is yarn being of service? Because joy makes people productive. Have you ever noticed how an absence of joy makes you want to do nothing? So joy has a value. Unfortunately, we haven't yet found a way to ascribe a dollar value to the soft skills, to the emotions. But believe me, there is a dollar value. You know that, and I know that from the days when I could not get myself to move. And what started off the writing of my fifth book, which was the first nonfiction book, I had written 4 fiction books, was being in a place where for 5 months I could not move. I had quit my job as an attorney. My mom, who is so close to me, had died, and I was getting a divorce. So, all of that wrapped up in one big, big nothing. And it was that morning that I woke up, and I tell you, I can hear my angels occasionally. And this one said to me, Liah, get a grip. And I thought, I don't even talk to myself like that. I don't even say those words to anybody. And that was the morning that I started writing 30 Days to Happiness, which ultimately landed me on Oprah. I think everyone who is listening has had a time where the wind was not in the sails. And you said, Where do I go from here? Sometimes that is a sign of what I call divine discontent, where you are being chaperoned into the next level and you don't know it yet, but you're feeling something's not quite there. But sometimes you are starting to slip into a state of non-happiness, which could also be called depression, but it doesn't have to be not depression. It can be neutral. We don't function well in neutral. Don't believe that for a minute. And anybody who is here today knows what excitement, focus, joy, going for something really feels like. And sometimes that's driven by necessity. Like when I built my first house, I had to build it. And I had to start with what I had, which was $4,000. Now, that's another topic. But we need to feel being in the state of in love. And that feeling begins in love with our lives. Don't ever say, I hate my life. Say, I love my life. And here's how I'm going to figure out how to love it more. That's the next step. And so you look at what you have to offer the world, and you first need to offer it to yourself. Obviously you do, but you can grow yourself. You can grow yourself along with your offering. Do not become perfect first. Nobody will like you. And you know that's the truth. Yes. So we, still have struggles? Sure.
But I think also if you wait to be perfect, you're going to be waiting a really long time anyway. So you need to take action now, right?
Exactly. And you also have stories you can still remember about how you did it. I mean, when we were talking about, I build houses, but now I teach women how to build their own house for under $50,000 in less than 30 days. And some women will never do that unless they had a kick in the pants like I did. My house was worth less than my mortgage. I wanted to get out of there. I was going to have to pay money to the mortgage company after I sold it. And so I said, I've got to have a shelter to go to. I think I'll build a shelter, 4 walls and a roof. And I ended up building a 2-story, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for a very tiny, tiny amount of money. Then I learned how to do wiring and plumbing because I found out later how much that cost. I called my dad and said, the plumber gave me an estimate that equals exactly what I have in this house that I'm living in already, which has a roof and walls and a door. Didn't have windows yet, but it had plastic over them. So
that's all that matters, right?
That's all that matters. You have to have a reason, but the reason is also you want to know that you have done the best you can with what you've been given. And that is such a fabulous shining light. You've given yourself your own marching orders. You agreed before you came here. And so you are here to see how far you can go with what you've got. And there's no set anything. There's no failure. There is just how far can you go? How far can you get? How many people can you help, or how much can you help yourself? But just know that you're on a continuum and it just gets better and better. And that's what you're going to focus on.
I love that. And I like that phrase, divine discontent. That really struck me because it really does. Some people say, oh, well, God never gives you more than you can handle. And sometimes when you're in the throes of it, you're thinking, I don't know about that. But if you do reframe it as this divine discontent, that maybe what is the gift in this? I think I had somebody in the program who recommended that one time, and she said, what is the gift in this? What is the lesson that I can learn from this? And if we can phrase it that way, I think that also can help us to be able to get out of that, woe is me, and oh my God, the world's coming to an end. How am I ever going to get out of this? Because you will.
And when I coach people, I coach entrepreneurs in particular, and that includes authors and creatives, how to come forward, how to promote what you have by letting people know who you are. And so when you're doing that, just remember, when you get in a tough place, there's going to be a good story that's going to come out of this that you're going to share with other people. And how is that going to help? Because they might be in that spot right now, and it's going to give them hope. And if hope could be quantified, it would be worth billions and billions of dollars. That's how everything begins, is hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we had Sheila has been commenting, bless your heart, my lovely friend on Facebook, and she says, "Yeah, woe is me is rarely helpful." It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you said just now, God never gives us more than we can handle, everybody out there is saying, BS.
I know, exactly. Yeah, I know. I agree
I
with
get
that
it.
too. It's like,
I
yeah.
get it. Well, I said that. I said that. I adopted a beautiful daughter, and she was 8 when I adopted her. And then we found out all of the acronyms that came with her. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. And got kicked in the stomach and kicked. Horrible things happened to me. And I was talking to the universe a lot about
Mhm,
this.
mhm.
And I just kept saying, there's a reason for this. And, now I say, thank you, universe. I
Yeah.
thought I knew how to teach emotional intelligence. I have just gotten a whole 50% additional.
Yeah, yeah. I love these lessons that we get.
Yeah. And
Whether
now
we like them or not, right?
she's 17 and I'm still learning these lessons.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll continue. I think as parents, we never stop learning, and that's
Yeah,
important.
exactly. It is a big chore.
And
It's a
they
big step.
yeah, and our kids are our greatest teachers sometimes. I know I've
Yes.
learned a lot from them.
Yes. And they're not going to learn from us until they turn 35. I'm convinced of that.
Oh, I don't know, the mid-20s, they were
Oh,
starting to come
well,
around.
I
Don't
hope
lose hope.
I want to believe you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I wanna ask you this question, but because I know we're starting to run out of time, but I still love asking my guests this question. So, what are you curious about right now?
oh. I am curious about how to help the brain heal itself. And I'm working
Mm,
on new modalities to do that, one called neurofeedback therapy. And I'm curious because I know that although we are spirit operating through body, we need to know how to help our brains. And as all of us are going to grow and live to be 115 healthy, we want our brains to be just as powerfully functioning. And so I am curious about that. But I think also, as we well know, you can have an operation and lose half your brain and then find out your brain can go back to reconnecting. So we are learning a lot about how the brain functions, and it fascinates me.
mm. Yeah, it does me too. I was fortunate that well, when my sister passed, which was not the fortunate thing. However, she did have a lovely library, and some of the books she had were about the brain. And I know one of them was like how to make a great brain, or how to make your brain great, or something like that,
Yeah.
by Norman Doidge, and just really interesting stuff. And so I'm always geeking out on that as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I want to tell people there's more than what you might hear from your doctor, because
Oh
there
yeah.
have been so many remedies that have been known, and especially this for neurofeedback therapy since 1970.
Mm,
I really a book called A Symphony in the Brain
mm,
talks about this, and I've used this and worked it for an 18-month span, but my daughter was a little too ADHD to be able to sit still. But
mm,
it really is something that if you have anyone in your family that needs help that way, and even for
mm.
everybody needs a boost. And I think that dehydration starts affecting the brain in different ways with
Mm,
age, far more profoundly than it ever did when we were younger. And we're having a heat wave in the United States right now, and all over the world. Everybody needs to hydrate if you've got the water nearby, and blessings to those people who don't. I but to just remember that that is part of why you can sometimes feel depressed is hydration. It can be a physical root. And so look at that first and say, how hydrated was I yesterday? It's not about what you did 4 hours ago. It's what you did 12 and 24 hours ago.
Wow. Makes so much sense. I hadn't really thought of it in that terms, especially about the day before, because you do sometimes think, maybe it is, just maybe earlier today or something like that.
Right.
But it does make sense. I mean, because we are 80% water, something like that. So we need to make sure that we have that.
Absolutely. And when adults start feeling thirsty, they are extremely dehydrated. Children feel thirst before they're super dehydrated, but adults lose the ability to track their level of hydration. It starts very early on. So keep drinking the water. And even if you don't think you're thirsty, hydrate.
Words to the wise. I appreciate that.
I work outside building houses.
Yeah. You know how important it is. Yeah, and I've done races and things before when I was running, and so I know how important it is to stay hydrated for that.
Right.
So,
and you can't do it all in one glug. You have to do it gently over time.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you have too much, you ingest too much at once. That's another problem too.
Yeah, you
So
mess up the
gotta be careful.
electrolytes. Yeah, so you can't do that. But you start, like sipping through a straw almost continuously. But this is an important piece because, yes, the worthiness, the feelings about oneself are the most important. And so I'm saying, as a net it out, is learn how to speak nicely to yourself. Learn how to be your own best cheerleader. Learn how to be okay with praising how you sound, how you talk, how you walk, how you look, because you need to be at peace with yourself. And especially if you're going to be in front of a camera, especially as someone who is an entrepreneur or a writer or a creative, you must learn how to let yourself shine. Let yourself shine.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, this has been amazing, which I knew it was going to be. And you are amazing. And I love all of the things that you have done and continue to do, and all of the wonderful advice that you shared with our audience today. I know it was helpful, and it really does start with being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you wouldn't say things to your best friend that were hurtful, why are you saying them to yourself?
Exactly.
So,
And it pushes out all the garbage. Just remember the challenge. You're being challenged. It's intended to be challenging to you. It is your time now to push that garbage away forever. Disintegrate it.
Absolutely.
And you won't have to deal with it quite so intensely ever again. It might come back.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because I know sometimes, and I've experienced this myself, it's like, when am I ever going to be fixed? And I've learned is that we're never quite fixed. However, we do continue to kind of keep moving up and moving up. And so, you are going to take a step down once in a while, but then you can go back and take 2 more steps forward, and you're going to keep moving. It's
And
going to be okay.
something else for women, especially, quit second guessing yourself. Trust your gut, trust yourself, and then quit analyzing every conversation you had with the last conversation on the phone or in person or at a party. Stop it. Don't bring it up to yourself ever again. Move it forward. Think of yourself as a duck that the droplets just flow off of. They do not penetrate.
Absolutely.
Keep moving.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I know people have been listening to our conversation today, listening to you, and are going to want to know more about you. So how can people contact you? What's the best place?
Well, definitely you can go to my website, Life Kraft, a K in craft, like my last name, lifekraft.com. And you can sign up for my newsletter. I can let you know where I'm building, when I'm doing a workshop. I also have YouTube channels. One is Life Kraft with Liah KK. That's easy. And the other one is Home number 4, the heart, home for the heart. And it's a simple H in a circle, but it will show you a video of the house I ever built. And I built it for less than $25,000. But what I'm telling you is you can build for under $50,000 after you have the piece of land and the infrastructure in, the water, the electric, the septic. But I want to share this with you. It is all doable. And that is how we build wealth as women. Women need to own homes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can attest to the video that the house was amazing. I watched it some time ago and might even go back and rewatch it. And I will have all that information in the show notes as well.
Yay.
So if you are, listening to this somewhere where you don't have a pen and handy, go to liveloveengagepodcast.com and you'll be able to get all of that information. So thank you so much, Liah, for being with us today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. You are awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this information and for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. And I also want to give a shout out. I know I've teased this umpteen times in the past, but I finally got prepared today. And I want to shout out some of the Apple reviewers of this podcast. So Jewel Holman and June Edward in the United States, and also Dr. Mike Van, who listens to the show in the Philippines. So thank you so much for the kind words you left on Apple about the podcast. I really appreciate that you are out there. And if you're not subscribed yet, I hope this will encourage you to do so on Apple or whatever other podcast platform you listen. It's perfectly fine with me. And I think that's going to do it for this edition of Live, Love, Engage. So until next time, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.